your career development, whose responsibility is it? That's a good question, I suppose, but who better knows the aspirations, inspirations, and individuals of, or the values of an individual other than the individual? Sadly, the vast majority of employees do not take responsibility for their own development. So joining us now to discuss career development in the workplace is Siphiwe Moyo, and he is the chairman of the South African Board for People Practices. Siphiwe, good to have you. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thanks, Leanne. Thanks for having me.
Whose responsibility is it to the employer or the employee, I mean, for development in a career?
I think to explain that, Leanne, I'd like to tell a quick story. So, a story of a very small rural village where there's this elder who just knows everything about anything about everything in that particular village. So every villager knows that if I have a question, I must go to this one elder. Yeah. He knows everything. So these two young people come to the city and they decide, we're going to go back and expose this man. There's no way he knows everything. We're just going to expose them. So they think, how can we expose this man? So finally they think, we're going to catch two butterflies, hold them in our hands, and we're going to go to this man and trap him. So we're going to ask him, are these butterflies dead or alive? And you're going to hold and I'll hold. And what you're going to do, if he says this butterfly is alive, we just crush it and kill it quickly. And we say, yeah, we got you. And if you say the butterfly is dead, we just reveal our hands and we say, yeah, the butterfly is open, and we're going to expose the fact that he doesn't know anything. So they go to this elderly man. They do the same thing. They hold the butterfly and say, sir, can you please tell us, is this butterfly dead or alive? And then this man just pauses and thinks for a bit. And then he says, young people, whether this butterfly is dead or alive is totally in your hands. So that's the story of career development. Career development is totally in an individual's hands. The employer can give frameworks, they can guide, they can build whatever, but it is up to each one of us to ensure that our career is being developed.
Yeah, it's an interesting analysis, because I mean, I suppose our career is in our hands to a certain extent, because there are certain jobs that you can be in, however, where there is no nurturing, where you're almost just put there and, you know, no matter what you do or how you try to move, you just don't get recognized and you're not able to move and have any career development. What do you do in an instance like that?
So I think every South African must know that every employee has the right to be at least trained for the job that you are being asked to do. So it's your right, it's your responsibility. It's employer's responsibility to give you the training to do that particular job. And career development is more about how then do we move you from your current job to ensure that you are fully performing and to move you further into different roles, bigger roles. But every employer has the obligation to give training, initial training for the job that you are being employed to do.
Yeah. You've also, I mean, in most organizations, you've got a human resources management division, I beg your pardon. And, you know, this, of course, has training and development programs. What is the role there? How does that assist you?
I mean, the role of training and development, the department is to ensure that you are skilled for the jobs that you have to do. I mean, we did a study in association with the ASTD, which is the American Society for Training and Development, about how employers in South Africa actually spend, how much they spend in the development of people. And many employers in this country spend a lot of money, about 3 to 4% of payroll on employee development. So that's what the training department is there for, to ensure that you at least have the minimum skills to do your job. What you do with those skills and how you take your life further and your career further is totally up to you.
Yeah. You know, I must say, one of the biggest issues, however, is working under a manager who doesn't recognize or see you. You know, there are just so many people. Just to quote one HR specialist, Doreen Nixon, who says, no amount of direction, ambition or planning by an employee can lead to success without the support and guidance from a manager. And this is the reality, because sometimes you get disgruntled employees who feel that as much as they try, the manager doesn't recognize them. And a lot of managers are put into positions that perhaps don't even want to be there. They just put in this position because that's just where they found themselves. That's wrong of an organization. Or, you know, what should a manager really be there for?
I think that's absolutely true. First of all, a manager should be doing about 70% of their role should be people. not still trying to do what you've been doing in the past. So the problem is that in our country, you get a good teacher, and because he wants more money and you want to promote them, you make them a principal. And yet they don't want to manage people. So what you want to do, you want to take that teacher, expand their role, make them do other things that will keep them excited. So we have a lot of people in management who actually want to be specialists. And it's okay to be a specialist. In fact, there's a study that has always been done, and it's a fascinating thing, that shows that, in fact, employees don't leave organizations, they leave managers. You know, people leave because their managers is terrible, their manager is not coaching them. So to every manager, they must understand that your role is to get results through people, and therefore coaching and mentoring is your ultimate role, and not necessarily still doing the work that the employees are doing.
You're so right, and I mean, I know it happens in every organization, but I can cite so many examples where you got some of the most fabulous journalists, and you know, I'm in journalism, so I know that, and they're brilliant journalists, and of course their bosses want to recognize them, so they put them into a managerial position, and they stop writing, and they manage people, and that's not what they want to be doing. And they're not the best managers, but they're still the best journalists. You know, just finally, you know, we've run out of time. I'm being shouted at by my manager. Creating a happy environment. How do you do that? How does everybody work together? What should we do?
I think there are basics. Number one, as a leader, you must understand people in your team. People are not motivated by the same things, and so you must really understand your team. Your job is to create a climate for good performance. So understand what people want in your team and let them shine. Create a good environment, and don't be afraid to let your employees shine. That's your job.
All right. You're a star. Thanks for talking to us, highlighting what we should already know. Siphiwe Moyo, he is the chairman of the South African Board for People Practices, talking to us here about people management and career development, and whose responsibility it is for you to develop. It's yours, but it also has got a lot to do with the organization as well. Thanks so much, Siphiwe.
Thanks, Leanne.
All right, let's get you